welcome back to the Origins Summer Preview with the Dice Tower. I'm Mark. I'm here with David from Obscure Reference Games. Tell us about what this is.
Sure. This is Overlords of Infamy. In Overlords of Infamy, you get to be an evil overlord with the goal of making everyone as miserable as possible by doing some very ridiculous things.
Nice.
Like blanketing the region in glitter,
okay,
or throttling internet speeds to 56K, dividing by 0, that kind of thing.
Nice.
Very silly and tongue-in-cheek, but still a lot of strategy.
Okay.
So, give you an idea of the gameplay.
How's the turn work?
Everybody gets to be an evil overlord. There's 11 of them.
Nice.
So, for example, we have the Dead Pirate Roberts.
Nice.
We have Waffles. This one's really popular. We have Tyranno de Bergerac. And each of them come with their own lair. So the lairs are specific to each of the overlords.
Yep. So
and
they go in these corners?
Right. They go in the corners. So to give you an idea of how that works, so set it up in the corner, and then everybody gets their own set of these meeples that they can use. These are your lackeys.
Okay.
And one thing that we do with the lackeys, for anybody who's colorblind, is each of the lackeys has a different shape, so it's easier to tell them apart when they're on the board.
Nice, okay.
So you take 3 of your lackeys and you place them into your barracks there, and you're gonna be working on one of your nefarious plots. Everybody starts out with the basic plots. They're called knavery. So some of them blanket the region in glitter. This one is opening a vegan restaurant chain that secretly serves meat. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. So what you're trying to do is collect the resources that are located at the bottom of the card.
Okay.
So there are little symbols that are shown. And you're going to send your lackeys out to these various areas on the board. So some of them are printed on there already if you can build out to that area. But what you're going to want to do is exploit the land, which means taking 2 map tiles, and you choose one of them that you want to keep. You put it adjacent to your lair, and you put the other at the bottom of the map tile stack.
Okay.
So sending your lackeys out then lets you collect that resource.
I see. Okay,
you get it immediately, and as soon as you have enough to complete your plot, you read what you did in your best evil overlord voice, which is quite a bit of the humor right there.
What are the different resources?
Different resources, sure. So we have Conjure Ore, which is basically magic crystals.
Okay.
We have Fauna, represented by this little cow token here. Water, which is a water droplet, which I know is really hard to tell. We have Scrap, represented by this scrap metal.
Okay.
Food is a carrot. Wood, and Spark Tech, which is this planet's word for electricity.
Okay.
We're not playing on planet Earth, we're playing on planet Fred, which is very similar to Earth, but a little different. So those are the resources. All those come painted, they're wooden pieces. Everything in the game's wooden. These relics here are also all wooden. That's something we unlocked during the Kickstarter.
Cool.
One of the things that you're going to be doing is preventing the adventuring hero from coming and killing your lackeys and liberating the land that you've rightfully exploited. Yeah. So there's a world tension tracker down here. Every time that you harvest a resource, recruit a lackey, or complete one of your plots, you move that forward by 1. So if it hits the 3, 6, or 9 during your turn, the next player gets to roll the die and move the adventuring hero that many spaces.
Okay.
If it runs into a lackey, your lackey is defeated, taken off the board. If it runs into an unoccupied map space, he can liberate it by burning it to the ground.
Nice.
And after he does that, he runs back to the center with the resource that was on that tile.
Okay.
So the hero can start completing their own quests. This is a variant rule that we added in, but it also allows for solo play and for the 5th player expansion. So for example, the hero might be trying to offer decent pay and healthcare to his lackeys.
Oh, of course.
Or Mr. Overlord, tear down this wall. That's a quote by the hero. These are some of the quests that they could complete. If you're playing with the hero as AI and the hero completes 3 of his quests, then everyone loses, regardless of how far you are in the game. If you're playing with the hero as a player in the 5-player game, they're going to be trying to complete a certain number of their quests based on how many world events you're playing to. So, which I guess I should explain, when the world tension gets to 10, a world event happens.
Oh, what are those events like?
They could be good, they could be bad, they could do nothing at all.
Okay, all right, good.
So let's see. This one that happens to be on top should have invested more in the space program. So what this one does is it makes meteorites rain down on the land, and each overlord rolls the die and destroys that many map tiles.
Oh my gosh.
Of the overlord to their right.
To the right? That's awesome.
Yeah, so that one, some of the other ones in here, into the maelstrom, all overlords pass their current nefarious plot to the overlord on the left. Things like that. It's really silly. And there's 77 world events in the full game. We recommend going to 10 world events in a normal 4-player game. So if you were to play with the recommended amount, you can go through the game 7.5 times without repeating a single one.
That looks really fun.
Right. And all of the 11 Overlords also have their own special abilities. They all play a little bit differently. And again, it's a different experience every time you play.
And you said there's a solo variant then?
There is a solo variant.
So you can do, is it 1 to 4?
It's 1 to 5.
1 to 5.
So
okay.
in the 5-player game, it's 4 Overlords and 1 adventuring hero.
Okay.
It's slightly asymmetrical there. Okay. In the solo game, you are trying to complete a certain number of nefarious plots to earn misery points.
Okay.
A certain amount of misery points before the hero completes 3 of his quests. So you can make that harder. So it has mechanisms to make it harder on you or make it easier on you, depending on how comfortable you are with the solo mechanic.
How long is the game?
If you use our recommended number of world events and everyone knows how to play, we say it's about 60 to 90 minutes.
Okay.
But the length is actually variable. So if you start the game, you say, hey, I only want to play till 5 world events, so you're playing maybe a 45-minute game.
Okay, cool.
Or if you decide you want to play for 12 hours, you say, let's go to 40 world events. Why not?
Wow, okay. Well, great. Well, thanks for stopping by and showing us.
Having me.
Appreciate it. All right, folks, stay tuned for more.
Hey folks, welcome back to the Q&A table. We are over here with David Zuckman from Obscure Reference Games. First of all, that's a pretty cool company name.
Thanks.
That's pretty cool.
Well, when we first made the game, it was 5 of us, 4 of us now. We all worked together, and basically all we would do is sit around and make obscure references to each other all day. So
it's natural.
It just made sense.
It just made sense. All right. Cool. All right, so here we go. Can you play cards to mess up other players or influence the movement of the NPC hero?
Yes, actually, now I wish I would have said that.
Okay.
So there are a few different ways for player interaction, so it's not just multiplayer solitaire. So some of the ways to do that is each turn has an espionage phase in it. The espionage phase allows you to interact with other players. For example, it's based on your current level of infamy from 1 to 5.
Okay.
So in the you can do things like look at their plots, that's glean intel, or you could infiltrate their area with your lackeys to steal their resources, or you could steal directly from that overlord.
Okay.
It's things like that. You could also sabotage their plot eventually. But as for cards that do it, sometimes the world event will have you affect another overlord and you get to choose how that happens. And then when you get into the later plots, for example, the villainy and the domination level plots, they have an aftermath on them. And that aftermath will cause something to happen to the board or something to happen to another overlord. For example, in the domination level plots, the meanest ones, there's cause a global thermonuclear war, which immediately ends the game. As you would expect.
I'd say that affects other players and influences things a bit. Yeah, just a tad. All right, so I kind of heard you saying, and some of the people on the chat picked up that the game kind of turns asymmetric with 5 players.
It's asymmetric in that the hero plays differently than the overlords, but only. It's similar, but they have different movements. And the heroes are trying to complete their own quests. So normally when you're playing the game, when it gets to the 3, 6, or 9 on the world tension tracker, then it's one of the players gets to roll the die and move the adventuring hero. Now, if there's a live person playing as the hero, in the middle of the turn when it gets to that point, they get to move the hero immediately, and then they have their own turn where they have a couple of options for what they can do. So it is slightly asymmetrical there. The overlords themselves, they all have the same pool of abilities that are available. Or not abilities, but actions. In terms of abilities, each of the 11 overlords has a different special ability.
Is there any protection against those world events that affect different players? Like, will one guy be able to have, I don't know, a card or something like that will protect him from whatever is happening to everybody else?
Sure. No. Short answer, no. There is one card in the game. It's Assemble a Portable Freeze Ray. That card allows you to ignore the effects of any one world event that would affect you. That is the only card in the game.
One card,
and that is a villainy level plot.
Yeah. Alrighty, so do the different overlords have special powers?
Yes.
So
all of them have special powers.
Can you explain some of those then?
Absolutely. So each overlord, first of all, has what's called an affinity. And that is either for lackeys or one of the 7 resources. And anytime that they collect that resource or recruit that lackey, they get 2 instead of 1. And each overlord has a different affinity. They also have their own special abilities. For example, Lord Aether's special ability is called Transmogrify. So once per turn, does not cost him an action point. He can trade 2 Conjure Ore, the magic rocks, for any one other basic resource. Waffles has an ability called Fetch, so Waffles makes his human lackeys go fetch a resource for him at the end of the turn if he didn't collect any resources that turn.
Waffles.
Waffles the corgi.
The what?
The corgi.
It's a dog?
This is Waffles. I don't know if you can see it here.
I haven't seen it.
That's Waffles.
That's a carrot. That's one of the overlords.
That's one of the evil overlords, is Waffles the corgi. His backstory, or I should say its backstory, Waffles is androgynous. His backstory is that it was the pet of the adventuring hero.
Okay.
And the adventuring hero would leave for long periods of time, and Waffles would get really upset about that. One day, the adventuring hero brought home one of the relics, which is called the Femur of Acute Brilliance, and Waffles, thinking it was a regular bone, bites into it, and it made him super smart and decided he hated everybody. So then he became an evil overlord.
Well, it definitely sounds like you've done your homework.
Yeah.
As far as providing background and reasoning for all of the strange things that are happening in your game.
Yeah, and I guess that's another thing that I forgot to show. On the reverse side of each of the Overlords playmats is their backstory.
Okay, well that's cool. Good. All right, so when is this going to be available?
It's available now for pre-order. It's literally on the boat from the manufacturer as we speak.
Okay.
So we're going to be shipping out to our Kickstarter backers and our pre-order backers in about a month to a month and a half.
Okay.
And then everybody else after that.
All right. Yeah. Cool beans. Thank you so much, David, for stopping by.
Thank you for having me.
We appreciate it, and have a good day.
Cheers.
All right. We're going to be coming back over to Mark at the interview table in just a few moments. So hold on to your seats and your hats. We'll be back.